Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
Hey everybody, Matt Bagley back with you. Southern Oregon Sports Talk presented by Medford BMW here on 96.1 580 The Game. Got about 30 minutes till I sign off, wave off, and get on a seat on my couch and try to watch the rest of that Nats Brewers game. Get wrapped up in playoff baseball. But I can't just focus on that tonight. I also got to keep an eye on the future. Keep an eye on what might be the biggest game of the weekend in college football. I mean, certainly there's a lot on the line. The Ducks got to win this game, right? Oregon, Cal, Saturday on our sister station News Media 880 KCMX. And I had the chance at talking to some Ducks people today. We had Joey Mack on yesterday. Probably going to grab an Oregon writer or two this week, but you know, Oregon fan, you know what's going to go on from their side on Saturday. I wanted to look at the other side. So I have Rob Hwang from CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. He also hosts a podcast called The Bearcast. He's an expert on Cal. Rob, how you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It's my first time on radio, so this is going to be interesting for me.
Oh, wow. Hey, I got to have some fun with you. Let's just start off with this. I do a lot of work with our SB Nation sites locally. Adam at Addicted to Quack and the guys that cover the Beeves at Building the Dam. I'm pretty familiar with your layout. Like what I'll do is I'll click the masthead on your homepage, and then I'll look up like what these guys do, what their titles are. You guys blew me away because your site refers to you as a Marshawn enthusiast. What is that?
I mean, once they changed the masthead settings, we took some liberal changes to it, changing out the editor and the writer and names like that. And this was actually before I joined the site, but they changed it all up to have it something to do with Cal. And, you know, you see the Javid Best one, you see the Marshawn enthusiast one, and it's just you don't really see it unless you click on the masthead. But it's just a fun thing for us just to have, like, when you look on the staff directory, you'll see all of us with these different things, and it's kind of hard to figure out who does what, but you kind of get a feel for it after you look on the main site and see what they're writing.
Now, I'm a Raider fan, so I know how the Silver and Black views Marshawn. We'd love him. We just go crazy for that guy. How do Cal fans feel about him?
Oh, I mean, he's a living legend. He's on the Jumbotron for like pump-up things in the middle of the game. He's around. His store is down the street on Telegraph. Sometimes when you drive by, you'll see him playing ping pong outside of his store.
Wow.
With his family. He has a restaurant here down the street from where I live. You'll always see him there as well. In the East Bay, I think that he's an awesome guy. Does so much for the community as well.
Chatting with Rob Hwang from a Cal SB Nation site. That's CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. He also hosts the Bearcast podcast. Great name. Rob, looking at this game Saturday, from your perspective, what should Oregon be concerned about?
Concerned about? I mean, the star of our team right now has to be Evan Weaver. 19 tackles ahead of the next guy up in the total tackles column. He leads the country. He was the leading tackler coming back to start off the year. He does everything. He's the heart and soul of that defense. He actually might be the heart and soul of the team. As a perfect reflection of how head coach Justin Wilcox wants to run the team. And you see it through his interviews, his demeanor when he plays. If you go back and watch the post-game conference from the Arizona State game, they pretty much act like mirror images of each other. And he is definitely the guy to look out for, number 89.
Yeah. You mentioned that Arizona State game. Were you surprised by that score?
I wasn't as too much surprised as all long-suffering Cal fans have known. There are times where we get too high and then reality comes back to haunt us. But, yeah, I mean, overall, the narrative of the game didn't really go our way either. Our quarterback goes out towards the end of the second quarter. That puts in Devin Modster, who was thrown into the fire. The run game, as I think, averaged under 3 yards a carry when he was put on. So it wasn't really conducive to seeing a backup quarterback enter who was uneligible to play for 3-4 weeks. So he doesn't have the reps with the first team. And it just started spiraling down, and it ended up where it ended up.
Yeah. How does the quarterback change what you guys do?
I think for the coaching staff, it doesn't change much. It's they've always run with the next man up mentality from the first day they got on campus, and it's going to stay that way. The only thing is you have a transfer quarterback who just came in and was eligible starting the Ole Miss game, which was 2 weeks ago. How quickly is he going to be able to adjust to the play calling, the playbooks, the read? I'm sure he's up to date with the playbook, but getting his repertoire down with the wide receivers, and just the little tiny things like that help a quarterback succeed. And, with 1 week to prep, granted we have the extra day since it was a Friday game, it's going to be tough for him to do it. But at the same time, he's a junior transfer, so you kind of hope that he's been there, done that, and is going to be able to pick it up fairly quickly.
Talking with Rob Hwang from CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. He also hosts the Bearcast, a great source if you are a Duck fan and you want to scout the enemy this week, learn about Cal, check it out, CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com and the Bearcast. Rob, you mentioned that Friday game, and every time a beat writer or a college writer mentions those Pac-12 Friday games, my ears perk up because I cover high school football for a living. I don't like those Friday games at all. What do you think about them?
I'm not a big fan at all. And, Cal's made a big effort to try and get attendance a little bit higher. But if you're putting games on Friday night when a big target crowd that you could look at is the high school crowd, I was talking with my co-host Andy Johnston about it, and we basically said, if you're taking that opportunity away, not only are you taking away guys that could potentially play for you down the road,
right,
and families that could, support the team, but you're also taking away future fans. The 16 to 18-year-old demographic, could end up enjoying themselves at Cal games and, become the 50, 60-year-old Cal fans that you see on the website and, become old blues. So it's just one of those things that I get the TV deal aspect of it, but I prefer my college football to be on Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Give me the college football on Saturdays. Give me the high school on Friday nights. Rob Hwang, my guest from CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. Rob, you mentioned earlier about how Justin Wilcox is getting players that just fit his system perfectly. What about Coach Wilcox has impressed you?
I think he loves the sport of football, and he eats it up. And he's so, passionate about every win, every loss, every play, every player. And you can clearly tell that from any time you interact with him or if you watch any of the press conferences with him. He just bleeds football. And that's definitely better for us from a writer perspective, too, when you ask him questions about what did you see here? What did you see from the tape? And, there's that tweet that's been pretty viral this week about Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans explaining to the reporter about the 4 deep and stuff. And Coach Wilcox does that all the time. And for me, as a person who's constantly wanting to learn more about that side of the game and the X's and O's, it's awesome. It's awesome to hear that. And he's more than willing to sit down and talk to you if it's about football. So those are the type of guys he wants in, guys that just want to play football, love the game of football, and clearly he's done that so far.
That Watson interview was fascinating to me because if you're not familiar, anybody listening wondering what we're talking about, Deshaun Watson, Texans QB, is asked about a certain throw that he made against a certain coverage, and he just goes off. And he's not like mad at the writer or screaming at anybody. He doesn't do the LeBron thing where he turns the mic off and storms out. He just instructs the guy and teaches him about NFL defenses and spends a whole minute regaling about all the X's and O's and all the nuance there. It was fascinating to me. You got me on a tangent, Rob. If, let's say you have a ray gun and you can point it at anybody in sports and get them to talk like that and open up and be honest with the X's and O's, who would it be?
I mean, in terms of just pure football, I think the easiest argument there is Bill Belichick, right? I mean, the guy's been winning for God knows how long.
Right. That's a great answer.
Brain on that would be fascinating.
Oh, man. Yeah, I probably have to go Belichick, too, not just because you want to learn from him, but because you finally get him to open up after all these years.
Pretty much, yeah.
Also, I got to ask you about Marvel, because I have this thing that I do. I learned this from a radio station in Portland of before they interview somebody, they read their Twitter. And you pinned a tweet talking about how you were late to the party on the Marvel movies, which made me laugh because I'm the same way. I like a couple months ago, I just watched all of them. What was that like for you?
Well, I mean, for me, I watch all those movies when they come out in theater, but I decided, with Endgame coming out, I wanted to rewatch all the movies in chronological order, and just have that fresh in my mind. And I took a few weeks before we had already purchased our Endgame tickets.
Okay.
I just a few weeks before decided, you know what, I think I'll try and watch one a day. And then, granted, there were some days I gave myself some leniency, so I could skip a day or two. But yeah, it was great. I love watching those movies over again, and I picked up a lot of things from watching those movies. When I went into Endgame, was like, I didn't realize that throwback. But if I hadn't watched those movies in advance, I probably would not have picked those things up. So
you binge all the Marvel movies, you rewatch them. What was the best movie that you rewatched?
Oh boy, I'm a big time Captain America fan. So I'm gonna have to say Winter Soldier or Civil War. Those two movies always get me, and I can always watch it. If they're ever on TV, you see it on Fox every once in a while, or TNT or USA, and I could just sit there and watch the Winter Soldier, just without even thinking about it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm right there with you. I thought this when I watched Civil War. This is probably like 2 months ago. I watched Civil War, and I thought, why isn't every movie like this? Of just take Captain America and take Iron Man and take all these comic book heroes and put them in the same damn movie and let them fight each other. That was awesome.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's as a kid who used to read those comic books, it's holy crap, seeing that come to life.
Right.
And, especially in Endgame too, in that final sequence, like, Lord, it's just amazing to see how much your nerding out has grown to this mainstream part of culture now. So that was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, nerds rule now. Rob Hwang, he rules over at CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com and the Bearcast, great podcast. Duck fans, you want to scout the enemy, you want to learn about Cal this week, give Rob a read and a listen. Rob, before I let you go, what's your expectation Saturday?
Well, the Vegas spread started at 15.5 and I think is now at 18 to Oregon. And I tweeted this out. I think that's the perfect opportunity to come out and punch an unsuspecting team in the mouth.
Right.
But Oregon is going to be very well prepped. They took 2 weeks to prepare. They had the bye week. Cal's coming off a reeling loss. And I think the guys are going to come out pretty fired up. But having 2 weeks of prep versus a backup quarterback who is only going to have 1 week of first-team reps is going to be a tall task for the Cal offense, who has already struggled this year. S&P Plus puts them at 98. Oregon's at 45. Defensively, Oregon's at 4. Cal's at 25. So, statistically, it's not boding well for the Bears. But I don't think the spread is going to be what it shows up on Saturday. I think the game's going to be a lot closer than you think. But my mind is telling me it's probably still going to be an Oregon win, just albeit maybe under 10 points. All
right. Rob Hwang, he thinks the Ducks are going to win, but it's going to be close, and Cal could punch him in the mouth. Could, the key word there. CaliforniaGoldenBlogs.com. Check it out. Read about this Cal team. Listen to what Rob has to say about him at the Bearcast. And, Rob, I'm really grateful that I got you on today, and I hope you have a lot of fun watching football on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks. You too. I appreciate the time.
Awesome. Rob Hwang, my guest. Let's wrap up the show next. I want to get back to the Beaver loss to Stanford. Here's my biggest criticism of Oregon State. That's coming up next right here. Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.